Hey there, everybody. Today we're going to talk about something that I think is very interesting that's been happening lately in the Pokemon games, specifically Pokemon Black 2 and Pokemon White 2. It's something that's been happening since the games were first released in Japan, and now that the games have been released more internationally, it's been happening in other countries as well. So I thought now would be a really good time to cover it. What is this thing that I'm talking about? It's the Great Magnemite Coil, or Magnemite Exchange. What is it? Well, it's basically like a stock exchange where you're using Magnemites as currency, trading with other people all over the world for Magnemites with your Magnemites. So essentially, it's just a bunch of people trading Magnemites back and forth. So to an outsider, it probably looks pretty strange. But what I'm going to do is do my best to explain it to you and why I think it's so interesting and a great example of something that the Pokemon community has pulled together to sort of create. So first of all, the first thing that you need to know to make this whole Magnemite thing make sense is that in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, there is a side game that's called Join Avenue. And Join Avenue is essentially this street that has a bunch of shops on it. And you gather NPCs through various means, and they will open up shops on this avenue. And in these shops, you can do things like have raffles, purchase haircuts or food for your Pokemon. There's a dojo that raises the level of your Pokemon. There's this fun little shop that's sort of like a mystery shop, and you buy a box and they clean off the box for you and you find what's inside, and sometimes you get something really good for really cheap. You know, it's just a bunch of really silly stuff. So how do you get all this really cool stuff? Well, you have to collect NPCs based on actual players that you encounter with your DS system, or by making movies. You can do that too. So your fans from movies will show up. But also, if you walk around outside and you happen to run into someone who is also playing Pokemon, then you'll grab their information and they grab yours, and they'll show up in your avenue. And you can recommend them to a shop, or you can have them open up their own shop. It's whatever. You can raise the level of your shops, and you can raise the level of your whole avenue and unlock things that you can do and more shops that you can get. The whole system is really cool, and it's designed to stimulate a different sort of multiplayer than Pokemon normally has. Well, one of the biggest ways that you can get people in this game that I haven't mentioned is by the Pokemon Global Trading System, or the Pokemon GTS. So if you trade with someone via the GTS, you get their information and they show up in your avenue. Obviously, this is a lot easier than making movies and trying to gather fans that way, or actually, Arceus forbid, going outside. So it was picked up as the quickest way to level up your avenue. Are things starting to make sense now? People trade Magnemites back and forth in order to gather each other's information, get them in their avenue, and then level up their avenue. That's what it's all about. So you're probably asking then, so why Magnemites? It could just be because Magnemites are so awesome, because they are, but there's actually a lot of reasons. First of all, Magnemites are available very early point in the game, one of the first cities, and they're available at high catch rates. They show up all the time, especially if you manage to snag a Magnemite with the ability Magnet Pull. Magnet Pull keeps Pokemon that are Steel-type from switching out or escaping from battle, but if you have a Pokemon with that type in your party, you have a 150% better chance of encountering another Steel-type Pokemon. So if you already have a Magnemite in your party, you're much more likely to encounter other Magnemite. 2, Magnemite has Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom always deals 20 damage, and that's perfect when you're trying to go up against these level 10 and 12 Magnemites that don't have that much HP. Usually, one Sonic Boom should be enough to be able to throw your Pokeball at them and catch them without much fuss. So basically, it has to do with how easy it is. Everyone has to trade the same Pokemon for the same Pokemon, and since Magnemite is easily available in everyone's copy of the game, it's an obvious choice. So Eevee, if I want to level up my Join Avenue, what do I do? It's really simple. I actually did it just this morning, and it didn't take me too long at all. So the first thing you want to do is go to Burbank City. And you want to go down south, and you want to go to the Burbank Complex. You've probably been there. If you already have a Magnemite with magnet pull that you've caught earlier in the game, then I would recommend grabbing it and putting it in your party. If not, then you just get to run around and try your luck. Catch a Magnemite until you get one with magnet pull. And then if it's not level 12, level it up until it's at least level 11 and gets Sonic Boom. Although, you could also wait for it to get Thunder Wave, which is very helpful. Magnemites get Thunder Wave at level 17. This will make it a lot easier, once again, to catch Magnemites. So once you have enough, how much is enough is completely up to you. You could have only 2, or you could have 200. That's, once again, completely up to you. You go back to the Pokemon Center, and you climb the stairs, and you talk to the woman on the far right. When she asks you what you want to do, you want to choose GTS, not GTS negotiations. So the first thing you want to do is put up a Magnemite for trade. You put one up for trade for a Magnemite, preferably of any level, but we can talk more about that later. Then you stick it up. It should probably be traded within just a couple of minutes, and you'll see that in action pretty soon. So the next thing you're going to do is, hopefully you have another Magnemite to trade, and you're going to go in and you're going to search for a Pokemon. This is where it gets a little more difficult, because finding Magnemites can be kind of hard. So here's what I recommend for trying to find a Magnemite. First off, once again, you want to look for any level Magnemite. Magnemite is genderless, so it doesn't really matter. I guess you have to keep it in any. Under level, you can select any 1 to 10 or 11 to 20. For country, you can do what you want to do, but for me, I actually put it on a specific country, because when I had it on any, I encountered lots of different Magnemites going for things that weren't Magnemites, some including Zekrom. So I would recommend putting it on a country that is actually participating in the Magnemite Coil. Those countries are the United States, Germany, Japan, of course, Canada, the United Kingdom, Brazil, France. All of those seem to be participating pretty actively, so you should be able to find Magnemites going for Magnemites in those countries very quickly. So, then you hit the search button. Then a bunch of trainers are going to pop up, and you want to select one very, very quickly. This is important because I assure you, the first time you do this, you probably won't get a Magnemite on the very first try. They're just kind of a hot commodity on the GTS right now. If it happens and they say that another trainer has already traded for that Pokemon, it's okay, but you do have to refresh. And I refresh by switching the level up. So if I had it on any, I switch it to 1 to 10 or 11 to 20. It's up to you. And then I hit switch again, and then I hit select, and I try my luck. I don't even look at the Pokemon, just as long as the guy is trading a Magnemite for a Magnemite, I'll see what I get when I get it. After a couple of tries, you should be able to manage it. And if you have lots of Magnemites to trade this way, then I would do it. Then you can leave and either check to see if your Magnemite has been traded for, which it probably has. You've seen how fast those things go. Or you can keep going and trade as many Magnemites as you have in your party. It's totally up to you. Party or box. Sorry. However, once you've reached 12 trades, including the one that you put up at the beginning of the session, I would recommend leaving and going to your avenue. And this is because the join avenue cap of pending visitors seems to be 12. So if you trade with 40 people but you haven't checked your avenue in a while, you're only going to get 12 visitors. So unfortunately, you do have to keep checking. But if you have fly, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And if you catch a bunch of Magnemites in the beginning, then you can just stay at the Pokemon Center right outside of the join avenue and just keep running back and forth. So why do I think this is so interesting? Well, for one, I think it's kind of funny that the Pokemon community has found a way to, it's not cheating, but they're kind of cheating the system a little bit. They're saying, okay, we could go outside and we could encounter people this way, or we could do legitimate GTS trades, or we could trade Magnemites back and forth. But I don't think that that steals from the Pokemon community in any way. In fact, I think it brings us together because we're doing this weird, wacky thing that we know about, and it just pulls us closer. It's even better because a lot of people are putting funny names or watermarking their Pokemon, their Magnemites that they're putting up. I've seen Magnemites with names of websites or social networking. I've seen the name Reddit or with Tumblr. I've seen people watermark their blog or Poke YouTube name right onto their Magnemites. People attach crazy mails. Some even spread Pokerus or give out shiny Magnemites. You hear a lot about that. One of the big things that people are collecting from the Magnemite Coil is Mallow. There is a trainer named T who gives out 150 level 100 Magnemites a day. They're all named Mallow after the character from Super Mario RPG. And every day's batch is totally different in some way. They all have very high stats though, and they all have, each batch I think comes in different Pokeballs. I haven't encountered any yet, but apparently people really like to collect them. If you want to get yourself a Mallow, people recommend putting up Magnemites for trading for a level 100 Magnemite. I don't know if this really works, but it seems like it might, and if you really want to get yourself a Mallow, that would be a pretty cool way to do it. So, basically, that's all there is to know about the Great Magnemite Coil. People put up Magnemites and cycle through Magnemites and spread their stories and share pictures of their mail online, and it's basically just a really great way for the Pokemon community to come together and find a way to enjoy their game in a sort of out-of-the-box way. So, I'm putting up Magnemites right now as we speak, and my Magnemites are called Magneon, you know, Aeon, like an eeveelation, hee, or Gamzee. And if you don't get that joke, I'm not going to explain it to you. So be on the lookout for any of mine. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was informative to those of you who don't understand the Magnemite Coil. So go have fun and level up your join avenues, and I'll see you on the flip side.